Alright, guys, this is going to be another edition of storylines that should have happened. And basically, I'm going to be talking about Rob Van Dam in this video. And, this is basically, he should have won the ECW championship in 1999. He should have won the ECW World Heavyweight title in 1999. And I feel like, some people would argue that, oh, well, he was injured. He got injured in 2000. He had to have surgery in 2000. In 1999, he was pretty much perfectly healthy. He had a great run as ECW World, as a TV champion for almost 2 years. He had Bill Alfonso as his manager. And this video is basically going to be dedicated to Diesel 101 Raw's. It's gonna be a response to his video, because he basically made a really excellent video of how RVD was one of the most he was one of the biggest missed opportunities in wrestling, and he meant in every company. And we all know he was a missed opportunity in WWE, but I definitely want to talk about how he was definitely a missed opportunity in ECW as well. I mean, yes, he was a draw. He had some excellent matches with Jerry Lynn, Sabu. He could pretty much have a great match with anyone. He had some great matches with even Balls Mahoney, for fuck's sakes. And, RVD, he could put on a great match with pretty much anybody back in the day, especially during the late 90s, early 2000s. And, in my opinion, I think Paul Heyman was an idiot for not giving Rob Van Dam the ECW title back in 1999. Because he was just so over at that point. He was Mr. Pay-Per-View. He was the whole fucking show. He just had excellent matches with everybody. He was basically, his mic skills weren't the greatest, but he was kind of like the Johnny Cage, for those of you who play video games, who play Mortal Kombat. Johnny Cage is like this cocky, arrogant motherfucker who, he's so cool. He knows martial arts too. And ironically enough, Johnny Cage's character was supposed to be, I think he was the one who was based off of Jean-Claude Van Damme. So it's obvious enough, because RVD looks like Jean-Claude Van Damme. His name is stolen from Jean-Claude Van Damme. So because that was actually Ed Boon wanted to make Van Damme the video game. He couldn't. Sega had some licensing issue with Jean-Claude Van Damme, so they made Mortal Kombat. But that's another story for another day. And RVD, he looks, and his name is basically from Jean-Claude Van Damme. And and he knows martial arts, and he was cocky, arrogant. He said that he'll kick your ass. He wasn't the best on the mic, but he was funny. And he also had Bill Alfonso, who I thought was a stupid manager. I hated Bill Alfonso. I really wish that Bill Alfonso would have turned heel, just so RVD could like fucking Van terminate that motherfucker. God, he was so annoying with that fucking whistle. And he was just a real motherfucking bitch, man. But it's just those were the good old ECW days. Love him or hate him. And I just thought it was stupid for Paul Heyman not to put the belt on Rob Van Dam, especially when he was building up Taz. Taz was like his main guy. Some people would argue Shane Douglas, but Shane Douglas wasn't. No, he was not at that point. No, he started ECW, but he wasn't the guy. I really thought that RVD should have beat the hell out of Taz, because I heard stories that RVD fucked up Taz backstage. He basically smacked him in the face because Taz tried to be hard with him. And then RVD was just like, fuck out of here. And he just smacked him in the face. He didn't fucking play that. So, definitely a lot more respect for RVD than I even have right now, than I ever had before. So, I think he should have took the title off of Taz in 1999. And it would have been a great opportunity. I don't really think anything could have saved ECW at that point, because RVD was basically like the only real star. I mean, Taz had left to go to the WWE. Raven, he came back for a little bit, but he would go to the WWE as well. Tommy Dreamer is not a fucking draw. He's not a draw. He was not even in ECW was he a draw. You know, as much as I have a lot of respect for Tommy Dreamer. You know, he can put on some really great hardcore matches, some really good street fights, hardcore matches, extreme rules matches. He is not a draw. He's not that. He's not a draw like that. You know, ECW was the draw at the time, but he was not a draw. Justin Credible was more of a draw than Tommy Dreamer, but even he wasn't a draw. He was just no one took Justin Credible like really serious. Like, oh my god, Justin Credible's in ECW. I have to watch ECW now. No, no one did that. You know, I mean, you had Rhino, who was very underrated. I love Rhino, no homo. Rhino was fucking awesome back when he used to fucking pile drive people through fucking chairs and tables. You know, 2000 was his best. I don't think anyone. I think the only time he was actually used really well was when he first started out in TNA back in 2005. That was like the only time I ever saw like Rhino really being used properly since ECW in 2000 when he was part of Cyrus and the Network stable, you know, with Tajiri and a few other guys. But, you know, aside from that, Rhino was not used properly in any other promotion ever. And it made no sense. The guy, he wasn't the best wrestler, but he was excellent. He was a very talented wrestler. He was just he could take a bump. He could put on some really good spots. You know, he was very aggressive. He had a great look. You know, again, wasn't the biggest guy in the business, but he was like he had a very intense, you know, aggressive look to him, very extreme. You know, and it makes no sense how he, you know, never got a push outside of ECW. But I'm getting off topic here. Um, you know, Rob Van Dam, in my opinion, should have been the one instead of Mike Awesome. You know, because Mike Awesome basically became world heavyweight champion, and when Taz left, you know, but it was just I thought RVD should have been the guy. Mike Awesome, obviously, he left too. And he was another one who was very underrated outside of ECW. But, you know, very great, you know, agile, big man. You know, put on some great matches. You know, I mean, from Spike Dudley to Masato Tanaka to, you know, and he could have a great match with pretty much anyone. He had a good match with RVD, a decent match. But, you know, again, RVD should have been the guy because RVD was ECW. He was basically Mr. ECW. Basically, he should have been, you know, the top guy. You know, I mean, yeah, you had Taz and Mike Awesome and Masato Tanaka, which he only came in a little bit. It's kind of like what TNA has now with, you know, they bring in Japanese wrestlers to fight in their promotion, but they're not actually really contracted to TNA. Same thing happened with ECW back in the day. And, you know, it was just like, you know, in my opinion, you know, he should have had a really good, he should have, in 1999, he should have really beat Taz, you know, cleanly. You know, I don't really, it could have been like maybe Heat Wave or like Heat Wave 99 or something, you know. Again, Anarchy Rules when that was Taz's last pay-per-view. He could have beat Taz cleanly, straight up. Took the ECW World title, had a good run with it, with Bill Alfonso as his manager, and he basically, like, Bill Alfonso would try to betray him, you know, and basically, like, go with Mike Awesome. So it's Bill Alfonso, um, Judge Jeff Jones, which, whatever happened to that guy? Is he even on the indie circuit? But yeah, like, Bill Alfonso, Judge Jeff Jones, and Mike Awesome, you know, that could have been, like, a really good alliance, and then RVD could have feuded with the network, Rhino, and you know it could have been some good stuff. It could have been some really good stuff. But that's just me. Um, he should have been given the world title in 1999. He should not have waited. And to me, it made no sense. Like this is gonna be your last pay per view. You should have kind of gave Rob Van Dam the ECW title on Guilty as Charged 2001. You know, I know he had a really great match with Jerry Lynn. Not as good as his previous matches with Jerry Lynn, but still a good match. He should have won the title. That's my fucking Paul Heyman was stupid. He was stupid. He did not give, and for all the people that say Paul Heyman was a genius, no, he had a great mind for the business. He was not no fucking genius. He made a lot of fucking mistakes. fucked up a lot of guys' payover, and he was not a fucking genius, but he's definitely, compared to a lot of other people in the industry, Jim Cornette, Vince McMahon, Stephanie, he was a genius compared to them. But, he wasn't a genius. But compared to them, yeah. Dixie Carter, another one. Yeah, compared to all those types of people, Paul Heyman he had a way better mind for the business than any of those motherfuckers ever did. And, that's just my thoughts on that. Would have been a great run. So, yeah, I mean, that's just storylines that should have happened in wrestling. RVD wins the title. He has a feud with some really good guys. Um, I could have talked about his WWE career, but Diesel 101 Raw basically said everything that I wanted to say about his WWE career. Not talking about it now because obviously now he's older. He botched in a few matches. I remember he botched in a match with Cesaro. So, I don't really want to see him get a push now because he's old. Same with Undertaker. But there's a lot of guys who now is like too late. RVD should have got a push in like 2002 and 2003. But that's just my thoughts on that. He definitely should have beat Undertaker. He definitely should have beat Triple H at Unforgiven 2002. That should have definitely happened. Triple H tries to get it back, of course, but they have a program. You have RVD, Triple H go back at it. Give them a good rivalry. That could have been a great program. But that's just my thoughts on that. Yeah. Next video, trying to think whether I should do a Dreamcast retrospective video, or I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe, leave your opinions, all that good shit. And later.